Hi guys, this is Josh Harris, your EdTech specialist. And as you come back to school, you may notice that you have this message here when you log into Google Drive. Google Drive has been refreshed and updated. Your docs and sheets and slides and forms all still work more or less how you remember them from July, but Drive has been updated, and I wanted to show you what the new one looks like. So if you get this, you can either dismiss it, but if you want to actually investigate the new Drive, go ahead and click your gear icon. Keep in mind that this is reversible. You can, for the time being, always come back to the old Drive if you don't like it. So you're going to click your gear icon, and this fourth line down, you're going to click Experience the New Drive. Some of you will get an intro video when you start up, others will not. And I can, in this email that I'm sending this to you, and if I post this on YouTube, I will put a link to the Google intro from YouTube. In any case, so it says it's designed to help you get things done, so let's get a look at it. We're going to go ahead and proceed in an orderly fashion from left to right. So looking on the left, we see some similarities, but first off, it's a little bit more spaced out, a little bit more visually appealing. We notice that each section of Google Drive now has an icon, and if you are a frequent iPad user of the Google Drive app, these icons should look pretty familiar to you. And if you haven't been using it, when you get on the iPad, you won't see the words, but you will see these icons, the folder with the Drive triangle, the two people for incoming. You'll also notice now that Shared With Me is not called Shared With Me anymore. It's called Incoming, which when we're talking about it makes it much easier to talk about. Next thing is we don't have the Create button and the Upload button separately. They're all now one big shiny new fun New button. And if we click on the New button, here's where we can create a folder. Here's where we can do single or whole folder uploads. Our three most used, probably statistically most used, Google Drive apps. And then if we want forms or drawings, we come down to more. If you've connected any other apps, that's where they'll be as well. Incoming, we'll take a quick look over at Incoming. It's, in my opinion, much easier to use now. One of the problems with the old Shared With Me is you could drag files over and you could make mistakes. You could accidentally take files away from other people. Now the only thing you can do is you have either the More Actions button, the Download button, or if it's not something you already have in your Drive, which I will try to find one, you will have this button here, Add to My Drive. And what that'll do is put another icon. It won't move it out of here. It'll just use the Add to My Drive. See, use Add to My Drive. And if I click that button, it'll ask me where do I want to put it in my Drive. I could put it directly into a folder if I wanted to, but the mistake you could make of pulling things away from other collaborators, it seems like they've completely eliminated it. So you can either add it to an existing folder. If you just want it floating around in My Drive, you can just click Move. If I wanted to put it into the Conversions folder, for example, I could put it there. If I decided I didn't want to and wanted to create a new folder, I could click the New Folder button, and we could do all that. I'm not going to actually do that, so I'm going to click the button. So let's head back over to My Drive. So those are the new changes on the left. In the middle, what we call the Docs list. By default, yours will look like this. It will be in what they call the grid view or the thumbnail view. And what we have now is nice big previews, little thumbnail images of what our documents look like. For the most part, you see a couple of them are blank. But we also have this new thing where we can click and drag to select a bunch of documents or files. And then if I wanted, I could drag all three up, and you see I got the little nifty 3 badge, and I could move them into projects, and zing, they're moved. Now I'm going to undo that because I don't want to actually move those in there. The other nifty new thing is we can click on one file, then just like in your Windows environment or your Mac environment, if you use Mac, you can click the first one, then control click, control click, control click, all the other separate files that you want. And we didn't used to be able to do this. We could do this somewhat with the checkboxes that we used to have, and you'll notice when we get to list view that the checkboxes are gone. But and then we can drag these and it'll tell me I'm moving 5 things. And if I wanted to do that, there they all go. The nifty card shuffle animation, but I'm not going to move those files. So let's go ahead and notice that while we have something selected, just like when we used to check the box in old Google Drive, we get a few more controls. The one I really want to draw your attention to, because if you've been to one of my trainings, you know to look for the More button. And the More button is there. It's just now the 3 dots button. And you can see those things are there. All our controls, if we deselect that document and select a folder, the More button comes up and it's got a few more things we can do. We can add the star, we can change the color, and we can rename, which are the most often ones. And again, we can move to. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the list view now, which I think what most of us are used to looking at. So if we go down to this document and we look over here in our details, we can see lots about it. We can see that it lives in 3 folders at once. And if we go back up to the More, you notice that it says remove star, which means it must have a star already. But I don't see it in the docs view list, and I'm not going to now. The star is only going to be shown once we have that document open. If I come over here to the starred section of Drive, however, it does appear there. The star is just not visually on the screen while I'm in Google Drive. If I scroll back down to that again, all things open with a double click now. It used to be we could single click on the name, not anymore. But when we open it, we'll notice once the document's all loaded that we do have the star here on the in the docs view, and that's the only place we're going to see it anymore, unless Google changes it, which they might. In any case, now moving over to the right here, we have this activities and detail list. That's always been there, but Google's bringing it to more prominence now. So this is a pretty nifty little feature. If I click on my drive, it can tell me all the activity that's been happening. So if I see today I moved an item to my drive, I moved something called Joshua PDF to my drive, and it can go back quite a ways. And it will tell you not just things that you've done, but things other people have done. For example, if somebody's changed permissions, this is actually the trainer account, not Joshua Harris's work account, so it reads Joshua Harris as another person because Google thinks that I'm somebody named Mr. Smith. In any case, we can also get these sort of activity details on individual files and folders. So if I clicked on details of the classroom folder, I can see that it's a Google Drive folder, that who owns it is me, the Mr. P. Smith, and I can see what activities happened that either I added documents or these other people did as well. If you find this is too much on your screen, then up here on the right you can click Hide Drive, which is the black circle with the white eye in it for information, and it goes away. So those are pretty much the new features. There's a few more things that we could get a little further into, but I'm not going to do that here. If you are just not a fan of the new drive, for the time being, you can click onto settings and go into leave the new drive. And that, I say for the time being, because sooner or later I assume Google will just move everybody over to the new drive. I have no idea how long that's going to be. But coming back to it, we see while there is more information, there's a bit more visual information here in the old drive. It is a little cluttered. Once you get used to the new one, it has a cleaner look. And if you prefer this, then you can stay in this for now. But again, I think that you should experience the new drive. In any case, if you have any questions, feel free to email me, joshua.h@fsusd. And I hope you have a great school year, and happy Googling.